Hello and welcome to Kentucky Killers. This channel is focused on killers that come from Kentucky and the information that follows behind them. Today we're going to be talking about something a little different than other videos. Instead of focusing on just serial killers of Kentucky, we are going to be talking about a place that was known for keeping the #1 leading death in diseased patients in the 1900s within Louisville. This hospital has had coverage from many paranormal investigators, including the well-known Ghost Adventures and BuzzFeed's Unsolved, two of which these channels I'm very interested in and keep up to date with their content. More recently, Ghost Adventures itself had just went in 2019 and done another visit following up on their, I believe, 2016 version of the Waverly Hills Hospital. In their investigations, they try to prove the hauntings that take place within the hospitals and any restless souls that may have been left behind. It is accounted that well over 6,000 lives were lost within the hospital walls, and numerous ghosts have been reported to make appearances over the years. Some of the most seen ghosts is a little girl that runs up and down the hallway on the 3rd floor, and a little boy that plays with a leather ball up and down the rooms. Many investigators have tried to engage the little boy in playing with another little ball and tried to video him moving it as well. Of course, none of these have taken place, but if you roll a ball down the hallway and you go to find it, it is apparent that the ball will be moved into another room or another section of the hallway that it should not have been able to roll into. So that's interesting.
Oh no, 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 no.
Ryan, the ball bounced.
No, the ball stopped here. How the fuck is that possible?
The ball stopped right here.
How is that possible?
Also seen is the nurses from room 10502. They both worked within the room and committed suicide in 2 different years. In 1928, a young female, I believe she was 29, she committed suicide by hanging herself because she was pregnant by a doctor on the site but was not married. So there's rumors, of course, that she killed herself because the doctor did not want the child and did not want to be affiliated. There's other rumors that it wasn't a suicide, it was a murder attempt by the doctor because he didn't want the child. Because more than likely, the patients, doctors, and nurses were all affected by tuberculosis, so the child itself thinking that it would also be affected by tuberculosis. Another suicide happened in 1932. A nurse, unknown of age and name, but she had jumped out of the window and her nursing station was in room 502. Now that we understand why this place is haunted and popular to many that are intrigued by the paranormal activities, let's get into some of the background information that follow. Located in Louisville, Kentucky, is an early 20th century Gothic Revival architecture historical building that is known for being one of the most haunted places on Earth. The land the building site sits on was purchased in 1883 by Major Thomas Hayes and was turned into a school for his daughters. The original 2-story frame building was then bought by the Board of Tuberculosis and was reopened on July 26, 1910, and was renovated to hold over 50 tuberculosis patients. TB was an airborne disease that affects mostly the lung areas in patients and caused them to have fatigue, night sweats, persistent coughing, and it basically wasted them away. Before an antibiotic was created by doctors, they simply told their patients that they needed to rest, eat well, and to exercise within fresh air. This is also a main reason why they decided to turn this school into the hospital, because of where it was placed. It was on top of a hill surrounded by wooded areas, so many doctors had the ideas that if they were around fresh air that they would be able to heal faster, and unfortunately that's not exactly true for a lot of these patients. Tuberculosis was such a problem for the little town in Kentucky that over 140 patients ended up staying in the hospital before it was accommodated for that size. Originally it was made for 40 and it had over 140, so it was very crowded. It was probably very stressful in the area. That many patients altogether, different forms of tuberculosis, probably didn't help in the healing factors of anything. A lot of the doctors and nurses sadly also got tuberculosis and were there until they probably died as well. Waverly Hills was its own self-contained community, and anyone living on the premises were not allowed to exist anywhere near any other general public areas. They were not allowed to leave the site. They were not allowed to go into town. They were not allowed to go visit family. If you were there, then you were a permanent resident of the site. But it did have its own post office, water treatment house, greenhouse, meat house for slaughtering, and any other necessities that you may have needed to live within the 1900s. Let's see. In 1926, construction took place to add more onto the hospital, and the true format of what you see today, if you were to go see the hospital, is what they had built on within 1926. When the construction was finished, the building had enough area and room to hold over 400 patients and was considered the most advanced facilities during this timeline. The discovery of an antibiotic for tuberculosis is what closed the hospital down in 1961. It was quarantined and then renovated to become Woodhaven Medical Services, which was then also closed itself in 1981 by the state. Over the next few decades, many buyers of the property had tried to make it into any new facilities. One buyer even tried to make it into apartments. Before, sadly, the projects, they never actually took off, selling the sites due to mostly financial issues. Before the recent owners had bought it, it was condemned, and the owners had tried to destroy it in a way that it would have seemed like it was just like falling down. Basically, he had tried to get insurance money off of the place before he dipped out and left it to be found by the most recent buyers in 2001, named Tina and Charles Mattingly. Happily, they continue to work on the property and trying to restore it because of all the years of damage it received from vandalism. Buyers were not really as well kept on the property. They kind of let it go. There was a lot of graffiti, a lot of people trying to get into the building because it was abandoned, take videos, see if they could find any hauntings for themselves, etc. Today, the Waverly Hills Historical Society is a non-profit organization that was formed to promote the education of the building's history and impact on the local community. It now runs tours that helps in organizing in a haunted house and puts on a Christmas laser light show every year to raise funds that go towards restoring the site. Tour season is open from March until August, and even if you have the opportunity, you can go for your own private investigations and even private sleepovers. You can stay the night there for a nice penny. If you go onto their website, you can see more information about this. You can look at the many different tours that they have available. That's all I have for this video. I thank you all so much for watching, and I hope you enjoyed. If you like this video, please let me know below, comment, subscribe, and I would love to see you all back here next week for the next video. Have a great night.